it's literally salt in an open wound.
Exactly.
When all Nikita's thinking about is how much he loves salt on his favorite pasta dish. And it's like, dog, you don't like, you're not thinking about it in the right context, right? It's not spaghetti. This is a gaping wound in my leg.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the podcast, a show dedicated to talking about all the poggers things in life, like music, content creation, and video games. I'm one of your co-hosts, JesseKazam.
And I'm Cookies and Cream.
Is that a milkshake, or is that just like protein?
The
Fairlife Cookies and Cream milk?
My wife just brought her home. I was like, want to try this? And I drank it and was like, this is fucking amazing. She's like, nah. I'm like, okay, I'll give it to me.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. Fairlife's good. Their chocolate milk's good.
Dude, I like developed lactose intolerance when I was like 24. So like having Fairlife milk is actually unbelievable.
Yeah.
Because it's better than regular milk. It's lactose free, but it's better. It like lasts like a fucking month and a half.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't go bad.
Yeah.
As quickly as just like a quart of milk or whatever the fuck you buy.
Yeah.
And it like tastes good. So
yep.
Hashtag sponsored by Fairlife Milk.
Fairlife, hit us up.
Go to fairlife.com/ this is definitely the podcast sponsor. And to get exactly 0%. Yeah. One lucky person will get 1,000 bottles of Fairlife cookies and cream. One lucky person.
And it's me.
But it has to be kept secret. Yeah. Anyway.
What's up?
That's the start of the podcast. It's probably the best start we've had to a podcast. I think ever. Dude, the first 20 minutes of the stream today was me playing chess, staring at my laptop, watching the last 30 minutes of the last episode of 1899.
Bro!
Have you seen the whole season?
Yes!
Dude,
they're so good. They're so good. It's the same people that made Dark, and they're so good at what they do. It's insane.
I loved Dark, arguably one of my favorite series of all time. And even watching Dark, at no point was I standing there like mouth agape, like no way.
Yeah.
And that this happened for me.
Dude. 1899. Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Oh, so fucking dude, it's like it gives me vibes, and we're not gonna spoil anything.
Yeah.
It's new enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like fucking Star Wars Episode 1, the Avatar Menace or whatever.
Yeah.
You had to have been here before the podcast started to understand that mashup.
Yep.
It gives me like Dark meets Westworld.
Yeah.
Meets Black Mirror. It's so good.
It's really good.
It's so good, dude.
You should watch. Netflix released an hour-long The Making of. It was all behind the scenes and stuff like that. It's really cool. They used the, I think The Mandalorian was one of the only other shows to use it, but they used, because they were filming during COVID, so they couldn't go on location. So they used the LED walls. Have you seen this? It's called like Volume. They build everything in Unreal Engine
Aren't they like
5.
domes?
And it's a 270-degree LED wall, and then there's like some roof panels, but it's not like a dome. It's like a roof. And they talk a lot about that technology and how they build the worlds and how they like what it's good at, what it's not good at. Like, dude, it's sick. It's really cool.
I wouldn't have known that at all.
Exactly.
Actually.
Isn't that insane? Because they talk with the actors, and the actors are like, it's so sick. Like, it's so good. Because like
so much more immersive than just like fucking being surrounded by a bunch of...
You're standing on the edge, you've got your arm on resting out, and you're supposed to be like looking out at the ocean wondrously, and you're just like 18 inches from a green screen.
A 19-foot like Gundam or whatever, and you're supposed to be like, oh, I'm scared.
But they're like sometimes it tricks you that it's being real. So one of the actors said that some people got seasick looking because like it's so realistic, like it's crazy. And they build all that stuff in Unreal, and they did that for The Mandalorian, and they did it for this. And dude, it was sick. So I just was watching the making of. I didn't finish it, but I was watching the making of last night. Yeah, it was a great show. I really liked 1899.
Yeah, no, I can't wait. Do we know when the next season
I don't know. I don't even know if it was greenlit. I think it was.
Of course it was greenlit.
Well, of course, but
this better get like a bajillion. Actually, was Dark like hugely critically acclaimed, popular, or was it like?
No, Dark was more like cult following.
Oh, it had to have been just because it was like German.
Yeah, it's not going to get the same. And this is the same, being in so many different languages. I don't think it's going to be as popular as Stranger Things, but I do think it'll be popular enough to get more seasons.
Yeah, they haven't greenlit it yet, as of 8 days ago at least.
Yeah.
It's so weird. Like, the one criticism I will give is some of the voice acting, like the English voiceovers, were pretty bad.
Oh, that's because you watched them, which is terrible. Watch it in the original language with the subtitles on.
See, it didn't even occur to me, because so many people actually are speaking English.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, I'm usually in bed playing chess, half, paying attention. So it took me a couple episodes before I realized that, like, oh, these people aren't
the actors.
Yeah, because it just so happened I was paying attention when like the people speaking English were speaking English. So, but yeah, there's just a couple of moments where you see someone like looking at the scariest thing they've ever seen, and the voice is like, "Yeah, I'm so scared," and it's like, come on now.
Yeah.
And it just like auto selected English.
Really?
Like, it never gave me the option.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's something like it defaults to your last selection.
Yeah, probably because like you were saying, you watched Dark that way, so it probably just like auto defaulted to it because,
So I'm assuming that it's like German and French probably are the two.
Yeah, there's German, there's French, there's Cantonese, there's Polish, there's Spanish.
Who speaks Spanish?
The two brothers, the like priest brother and those guys.
I don't think they're brothers.
No, but no spoilers.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's not really a big spoiler, but
I was going to say, I don't think
episode they say they're brothers.
Like, I hope they're not brothers.
Yeah, but anyways, they speak Spanish.
That makes sense.
But yeah, it was really cool.
Oh yeah, no,
I just want them to do more.
I once again fucking hate you for introducing me to a show that's like.
Oh yeah, that's one season. Yeah, we're still waiting on Severance season 2, bro.
Oh yeah, has that been greenlit?
I'm sure they just need to.
That had to have made them like $1 gajillion, right? It says season 2. Oh, okay, wait. Severance Star says Britt Lower says season 2 is a roller coaster. 2 days ago, exclusive premiere date teases. Oh shit. Oh my god, I can't wait. I'm still been paying. Like, Apple got exactly what they wanted, because me and 800 million other people are still paying for Apple TV, whatever.
Waiting for Severance.
Canceled our free trial. Yeah, just waiting for one fucking show.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
What's going on with you?
Great. Not a whole lot. Just lots of Tarky news. Lots of Tarky news this week. Haven't been playing so much DMZ or COD. Just. Again, yeah, not really. I still enjoy. Oh, I've been playing Warhammer. I think you like popped in the other day. I was playing Warhammer. I did a sponsorship for them, but that ended up just being really fun. We talked about that last week. It's basically like if Doom and Left 4 Dead had a baby. That's been super fun. And then they did the server stuff we're talking about in Tarkov, so that got me interested again. And then the event ended, which got me interested again because that stupid event was over. So yeah, I've been playing a lot of Tarky.
Hell yeah. I think the only I obviously haven't been playing Tarky, but the only non-Tarkov thing I'll get out of the way real quick before we get into Tarkov and then story time. Is so I finally got to 1,000 elo in fucking
nice.
Got to, which is just a totally arbitrary milestone, but I was grinding for it.
That's a nice number.
Yeah. So yeah, got to 1,000, and there's something called Arena Kings. Dude, this is genius, and more. I wish more like companies would do this. Every Wednesday they have a bunch of different tournaments, different days of the week and whatever. But Arena Kings is anybody can join, although there's like prizes for streamers.
Okay.
So if you're, because you can connect your stream to your chess.com account. And if you come into my chat and do !chess, you get a link to chess.com and you can check it out and blah, blah, blah. And I'm affiliated and I, get a couple bucks if you end up signing up for premium, all that good stuff. But
that's dope.
Obviously, there's a ton you can do on the website for free. So yeah. So what was it, yesterday? Yeah, today's Thursday. Yesterday, did Arena Kings, and it's like the prizes are gift subs from chess.com. They like drop in your,
which is so sick.
It's such a sick, it's such a sick like way to do. So there's like the top, like whoever wins gets 75 gifted subs. It's like 75, 50, whatever, all the way down to like 10. The top 10, or like the bottom 5 and the top 10 get like 10 gifted subs. And then whoever is the number one streamer under 1200, under 1400, under 1600, under 2000, they get 10 gifted subs as well. I won the under 1200. I was 25th out of 1,000 people.
That's crazy.
Dude, it's wild.
So you won the under 1200. So you're playing with people anywhere up to 1200 elo.
No, I mean, I was playing. You can. There's actually been bugs before on chess.com where like Hikaru, who is like one of the best in the world, like 3300, he will play against like a 200 because like there's a glitch where
and you're just like, oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. So it obviously prioritizes people of similar rating, but like. Actually, so in the different time control, I was playing 3-minute games. They're blitz games. They're faster. Okay. And my elo there was like 500 because it starts at 400 and I just don't play a lot of blitz.
Gotcha.
So I ended up going from 500 to 650. I just like won almost every game, and I was playing against 1000s, 1200s. I think I played 1300. I was like beating a bunch of people, and then like you see the fucking leaderboards, and it's like, 30. The top 10 is like 3200, 2800, 2900, 2700, 650, 3000. You know what I mean? It's it's wild.
That's wild.
So I'm stoked that actually went better than I thought it was going to. So Wednesdays at noon Eastern or 9 a.m. Pacific.
So it's a thing that they do every week.
Every week, yep. It's Arena Kings.
Dope.
And you just play. You just keep playing, and every time you win, you get a certain amount of points. So
that's
if
really
you can
cool.
win the most amount of games as fast as you can, So like if I won 20 games, and like the best player in the world with 3000 elo won 19 games, I think technically I would win.
Yeah.
I think you get like points based on the number of wins. So you can kind of compete against even the best players in the world, but while you're competing
not by
against
playing
people of the
them.
same skill.
That's really cool. That's actually kind of sick. That that's dope. That's really cool. And it's sick that chess.com like invests in the Twitch and the streamer side of it. You know what I mean? Because obviously that's such a huge dub. And that's the thing is like I bet that they're obviously seeing the benefit of like Twitch becoming more popular, of chess becoming more popular on Twitch, because like Chess Bruh, which I know of, and like Hikaru and stuff like that, they stream. And so it's just like, obviously just that brings thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of people in. So it's cool to see them invest in Twitch a little bit by saying that there's like prizes for streamers and stuff like that.
Dude, I really want to...
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I was going to say, I really want to fucking take part in... It's been like mentioned a couple of times as like, oh, would you be interested, by like some of the chess.com people, but have you heard of Pogchamps?
No.
So it was like, you can kind of think about it almost like Twitch rivals, but I don't know if it was a chess.com thing. But basically it is a chess.com thing. Yeah. It's a big tournament where there were a bunch of streamers. Like last year, there was Pokimane, XQC, Moist Critical, Forsen,
that's
like some of the biggest streamers. Yeah. And then like Hikaru and all of these other top streamers like coach them. And then so like the non-pros compete.
That's cool.
Yeah, I really want to get in on it. Actually, so it looks like that there's not, because I got asked a couple of times, like unofficially, like, oh, would you be interested? And I was like, of course I would, but all I had ever seen was like XQC and Pokimane and whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't think I belong, like I'm partnered and everything, but like I don't have 30K viewers, but I mean, there's a whole bunch of names. Yeah. It looks like there's like 100 people or something like that. So hell yeah, I really want to fucking do it.
That would be sick.
Yeah, and they're all like around my 800, 900, 1,000 elo. Like I think from what I've seen for the most part. So I don't know.
That would be dope. That's really cool too.
And that was, I think there's $50,000 in prizes.
Okay.
Dude, there's money in this shit.
Yeah. I believe it.
I don't know if they've completed the deal, but Magnus Carlsen, like the world champion, he owns like the Play Magnus group. There's like apps and websites and whatever. Chess.com just bought it for $83 million.
What?
So like, if they are buying a company that they're just going to merge with for $83 million, something tells me that, I mean, they've got the
the paper, and they're planning to continue to grow and expand. That's cool. The what I was gonna say earlier was that the whole idea of like the chess.com gifting subs and stuff like that just reminded me on a semi-related note, a Twitch-related note. Did you see how World of Warcraft has been doing their like kind of drops type thing? So like Asmongold had like 250,000 people watching him or whatever, because in WoW, part of the drops thing was like if you gifted 2 subs to any streamer with drops, you got a mount in WoW.
Oh, okay.
And then if you watched a drop streamer for a certain amount of time, you got something else. So it was like traditional drops, but alongside that, or a pet. You got a pet. So alongside the like traditional drops of like watch to earn, there was like almost like this like pay to win thing, but the paying wasn't like Blizzard didn't get the money. It was if you gifted 2 subs. And
that's wild.
Dude, and I was like, bro, imagine Tarkov drops. You have 100,000 people watching. It's like gift 2 subs and you get a mutant. Like you'd get 10,000 subs in a day. Asmon got like, somebody was watching him. Asmon got like 9,000 subs in like a few hours.
Fuck off, dude.
Yeah, dude. It's like freaking nuts, dude.
I mean, that's only $350,000.
Yeah, like it's nuts. So I was like, that's a crazy.
Sorry, not $350,000. I added a 0. About like 30K.
Yeah, in a few hours. You know what I mean? And he's not giving anything away. You know what I mean? It's Blizzard giving the pet. You know what I mean? I was like,
RMT?
I was like, screw this, boys. I was like, I flip everything. Let's RMT. Let's break the economy. You know, let's do it. You know what I mean? Give daddy those subs. Anyways.
Dude, I mean, I could be bought.
I know, right? Or a cosmetic. Literally, if there was a top that Tarkov players could only get by gifting 2 subs, like people would do it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying they should. This is very money grubby, which like you just have to understand as a streamer to see that happen. You're like, damn, you know what I mean? Like that's just printing money over there.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not saying Tarkov should do that. I was just like, of course, that's immediately where my brain went.
I'm saying they should do that,
bro. I was like, damn, bro.
I mean, that's one of those things. Like, let's say they were planning on doing something like that. I mean, it would be. I don't know how they would handle the integration. Because that would be difficult to do, and there's obviously engineering resources and whatever. But like Nikita has the power to like make streamers like us some extra change every now and then. You know,
it's insane. Yeah, like
and of course I know some people are already like gonna respond with the whole idea like, oh yeah, streamers don't need any more money, without realizing that like most of the streamers that they watch make like less than 10K a year from their fucking streams. And even like medium-sized streamers who are like above average might make 30K or something, right? Or
they only watch, you know, like Landmark and Pestilently and assume every streamer just makes, you know, buku bucks. You know what I mean? It's like that's just not how it works.
Yep.
And it's like, look at it from a 10,000 foot view. It's a very mutually beneficial relationship, right? Like, you know what I mean? Mutually, like the triforce of mutual. You know what I mean? Would you rather see Tarkov in a Facebook ad, like a targeted Facebook ad, or Instagram ad, which is where mostly marketing dollars go these days? Or would you just watch a streamer you already watch? You know what I mean? Like I found Tarkov because I was watching Grims. I used to watch Grims play Fortnite, and then Grims played Tarkov, and that was the literal first time I heard about Tarkov. And now now I'm a Tarkov guy. So it's like, everybody wins. Anyways, we don't have to get into the minutia of marketing and Twitch streamers and their role in gaming, but I just found that to be, I didn't even know that that type of thing was possible, dude. Like gift a sub and you get a cosmetic or something so it's not pay to win, but it's something people will do. It doesn't directly benefit Blizzard. Obviously, it benefits Blizzard to have Asmongold have 275,000 people watching him, but those people aren't paying Blizzard, they're paying Twitch, and Twitch is obviously down with it. Asmon's obviously, the streamers are obviously down with it. Blizzard's obviously down with it. It's interesting.
Yeah. Speaking of, on this, there's actually two things that kind of segue from this into Tarkov stuff. One is that a few folks mentioned that maybe, and this might be true, maybe the reason why BSG hasn't been doing drops might have to do with the sort of geopolitical climate and regulations. And I don't know if that's true, if that's a rumor. It makes sense. It makes sense as to why they would like take on the engineering tasks of doing shit that is a lot of work, takes down their website, and barely works.
Yeah.
It involves more work on the viewer side to log in and use codes and have to click on the fucking stoplights and crosswalks and boats. And dude, I hate those fucking for some reason the captchas on Tarkov's website are the worst captchas. It's like their own fucking brand of bad captchas where it's like select all the motorcycles and there's like 3 scooters, a bicycle, and a motorcycle, and you're like, I'm not sure they know what a motorcycle is. I'm not sure because like I don't consider this fucking moped a motorcycle, and then it's like, choose all the squares in this picture that are stoplights, and it's like, does that include the poles? Does it include the vertical poles, the horizontal pole? Like there's 3
one
pixels
box
of the corner.
with 1 pixel, and you're like, are you intelligent enough to know that if I select this, it's technically right? Yeah, dude.
Yeah, it's either a computer does it and I don't trust it, or a human does it and I don't trust them.
Yeah.
So yeah. But anyway, so there's that, and then there's the I haven't touched Tarkov in 3 months, and yet still somehow I get roped into Tarkov drama. Did you hear about fucking Wanpeg's video 3 days ago?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what did you hear? I want to know what you heard.
Well, I was lurking in your stream when it happened. And I just let it happen. I didn't want to say anything.
Yeah. Fucking yeah. So OnePeg put out a video 3 days ago. Major new ammo leaks for the KS-23 and the grenade launcher. So he did the whole breaking news. There's been leaks.
Which basically, there are ammos on Battle Buddy that aren't in the game. So I guess he found out about that and was like, oh, which is, I think I brought those things up to you too. I was like, I actually think on a podcast, I was like, yo, somebody told me that there was like some new ammos, and I like talked about them super briefly.
There's been items that there are items that aren't in the game that are in there, and there's items that are in the game that aren't in there. Not, but anyway, so the unfortunate part of the whole thing was he explicitly said that it was basically a leak in Battle Buddy made by Veritas, which he was like trying to shout me out, like being a homie, but it in the context it ends up being like not great. But basically said that the app has access to Tarkov's API. I have special access. I was the only one given special access to Tarkov's private API, and that's where I get all of my information from. And that isn't true.
Which I know absolutely nothing about APIs or backends or data mining or whatever. So I have no idea how inaccurate or accurate that is.
Yeah, I mean, so there has never and almost definitely will never be an API for Tarkov. It's just a ton of work. You need to having an API for your game is like having a fucking Airbnb in your house that you live in. Like you need, like you just need to live in your house differently.
Yeah.
Like if you have guests over, then you're not going to be leaving your laundry around like you might. You're not going to leave dishes in the sink like you might, The problem is that BSG's house is too much of a fucking mess to like invite anybody in.
Yeah.
It would take too much work to tidy everything up and to like renovate the basement, add an in-law apartment, i.e. an API. So it'll just never happen. Now, I originally had offered maybe 3 years ago, because I wanted to make an app that was either standalone or could integrate with Battle Buddy that would let you do things like hideout management and gun building, pick up your insurance, do messaging, whatever. And I had drawn up a little proposal with like a time frame. I even wrote up like documentation for like, here are 5 or 6 example API requests and responses. Here's the format. Here's the information I would want. Just as a starting point to say like, this is the kind of thing I would be expecting. Because I didn't know anything about the architecture, the protocols, whatever. So I'm like, this is kind of what I'm thinking. And he kind of was like, yeah, I'll get back to you. And, just like never. And I think like maybe a year later, he announced that like they had a team working on like a mobile app.
Yeah.
And then never talked about it ever again. And then I had talked about it to him like a year later, which was like a year and a half ago. And he'd basically been like, yeah, they didn't do like whatever. It just didn't happen, didn't finish, didn't work, wasn't good, whatever the hell it was. Which is kind of what I told him, because I had given him a time frame and a price for me to do it. And he basically said like, oh, I can get like 17 Croatian teenagers to do it for that price. And I was like, yeah, well, you know exactly how it's going to turn out if you do that. And he's like, yeah, pretty much. And that's exactly what happened, which is why we don't have one. So, but like in a nutshell, when you think about like the wiki, when you think about the ammo charts, a ton of the information in the wiki is crowdsourced, like wikis are, quests and stuff like that. But all of the ballistics stuff, all of that, there's a ton of information that's effectively data mined.
Yeah.
The same thing with the ammo charts.
Yeah.
They're basically data mined. But it's one of those things like, and I'm just going to be like completely fucking like open and candid, because I don't fucking believe in like people needing to. The problem is that if you don't talk about these things, then people speculate and they make shit up, which is kind of what happened with One Peg. He just made shit up, but he assumed based on maybe some semi-reasonable logical leaps. And what his understanding was, a lot of it was wrong. And then, stated it as fact. But yeah, so I'm just going to fucking say it. I don't care if it makes anybody angry. In a nutshell, like, Tarkov would not be what it is without the ammo chart and the wiki.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because of how fucking badly designed complexity and information sharing, communication wise, whatever, because there's no explanation about how the things work, because they don't work like you would expect in real life or like any other game. So many mechanics had to basically either been tested to death and or data mined for them to have the player base understand it. Now, I understand that, Nikita and or the developers, they really want this fog of war to where you'll never know. But I hate to say it, it's just fucking unrealistic. The moment a quest comes out, as much as you want the quest to be this thing that everybody discovers, 37 minutes after the patch, someone will have a video tutorial on it.
YouTube
it's just
video.
The nature of the beast. So the idea that you want this like control and closure over your game, I'm sorry, but it's just impossible in this day and age, unless your shit's like procedurally generated and your procedure is so complex and dynamic that no amount of like, these are the 17 different types of dungeons that can be generated, and, you know what I mean, then you're just never going to have that. So the fact that people understand quests and ballistics and all kinds of other stuff that isn't explicitly given to them. That's basically data mined from the wiki and in the ammo charts.
Yep.
That has raised the level of enjoyment and understanding in the game, I think.
In Tarkov, yeah, for sure.
Massively. If people didn't understand, I mean, the fact that so many people are asking and want these guides and want these videos to consume this stuff,
yeah,
it just goes to show you that there's a demand.
Yep.
And yeah, the aspects of Tarkov that are totally opaque to users that are then made clear on these external sources, those are not strengths of Tarkov.
Yeah.
They are weaknesses of Tarkov that are then filled the gaps by the community.
Yeah.
Now, because I think Nikita and the devs understand this, it's one of those things like they're not going to go and fucking sue
the wiki guys,
wiki people, sue data, ammo chart people. You know, it's like kind of have this sort of unstated kind of understanding where it's like, yeah, you know, they're not doing anything nefarious. It's only a few people. It's kind of a reasonable thing. It is what it is.
Yep.
And I think they've been responsible with the kinds of information because they could, if you're data mining, there's a lot more information that you could share.
Yeah.
And I think like they've had good, for the most part, good discretion about the kinds of things that they share and whatever.
Like the wiki guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like they're sharing fucking source code or like data dumps of everything. Like it's kind of sanitized and kind of controlled as to what goes out. And I just think they're responsible, and I think it's a win-win.
Yep.
But the problem is that you can't go and say, yes, you're allowed to data mine, because obviously think about all the people that'll just go and you're effectively hacking the game, right? You're like taking all this info. So they don't want to say that. It's sort of a thing like there's only a couple people, they do it, or they're just not going to talk about it, and we're not going to give them, it's like this, again, it's this unstated sort of agreement where it's like, we're not going to do anything. So when someone like OnePeg comes out and says, yes, Veritas has access to this API and he has an agreement with Nikita, you are now shining a massive spotlight on the thing that everybody just kind of, nobody talks about, nobody looks at, and it's like, and it also makes it seem like he said it so confidently as if he heard it from me, which would have been a lie if I had said it.
Yeah.
So OnePeg had gotten banned for a day or suspended for a day or whatever you want to call it. I think he had said he got banned, but in a couple places, but at least on the pinned comment on the video said that he got timed out for a day from the official Discord. Which, like, who the fuck cares? Citing that, quote, Battle Buddy has illegally data mined information on it. I have never data mined. I actually don't know. I mean, I know I could figure it out.
Yeah.
I don't know how to data mine, and I've never done that. There's I don't even want to say company. There's a repository of information in the database on a server somewhere. That is where my backend, my server, just has a script running that every 24 hours it goes and checks if there's new information. So that's how it gets updated. Once a day, it just checks to see is there any new information from this server. It's not Tarkov's server. I don't have access to that. They've never given me access. I've never asked for it.
Yeah.
So that's where it gets. But people just assume that if I'm automatically getting updates, that it must be from BSG.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, no, it's effectively from the same place as the ammo charts and the same place as the wiki.
Yeah.
Someone data mined it and put the information up somewhere. It just so happened that someone did it in a way that was consumable by me.
Yeah. So it's understandable from every perspective, right? From like, it's understandable from the perspective of like, the BSG people don't want people thinking that somebody was given special access via an API that doesn't exist, and they don't want people thinking that illegally, quote unquote, like illegally gained information is sanctioned. So they wanted to react and be like, no. And then it's also understandable for you to be like, because I don't know anything. Like if I would have watched that video, I probably would have believed it because I don't know what an API is. I don't know what API stands for. I don't know anything. So all I know is that you have made BattleBuy and you get the information. So if it was like the API, I'd be like, yeah, sure. But what's unfortunate for you is that the people that do know what an API is, and maybe some of the data miners or whatever, if they were under the impression you were given special access, then they might think they can get that access, or they might ask you how you got that access, or so that's frustrating for you to have your name attached to something that isn't entirely true. And I'm sure the intention of OnePeg's video had nothing to do with that. It was just, I want to show this ammo chart, and Veritas has to get this information from, BattleBuddy's got to get this information from somewhere. So it was probably just a blip on his radar of like, yeah, he's got API access and you don't. And so it's like, that is a cluster. And I totally understand what you mean of shining a light, on the thing. It's like, when we're watching a video in class again, and you don't ever want to be the kid that's like, are we going to watch another movie? Because it's like, now we got to do work. You know what I mean? Like, we were coasting by. Now you're going to be that guy. Aren't you going to give us any homework? And it's like, God dang it, bro.
Yeah, you get the substitute teacher, and the substitute teacher's like, they didn't leave anything for me, so I think we're just going to watch this Bill Nye episode.
It's in the desk. It's in the dresser.
It's in the desk. They told me Exactly. And you're like, shut the fuck up, like.
Yeah, so
But that's actually not even the best example. Because the teacher, it's like in this example, the teacher like left the TV there and was like, do what you want kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you switched it to ESPN. He kind of knew, but it was like, whatever. And then somebody was like, are we supposed to be watching ESPN? It's like, well, now everyone knows I know. So I have to get up and go switch it back.
Someone went to the principal and said, hey, the substitute teacher's letting us watch a movie again, but we're supposed to do homework. So then the substitute teacher's like, I never said that. I never said that. I never said that.
Yeah.
And then the substitute teacher has to put everybody in fucking detention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I haven't illegally data mined anything. And, this all just came up because we're talking about streamers and making money. And I mean, I have, approaching 1 million installs on BattleBuddy, and I've never once monetized it. There's no ads. I've never asked for money. I've never made a fucking dime from this, And I'm like, the moment anybody wants to come to me from BSG and give me a hard time, I'll shut the fucker down.
Yeah. Please.
Someone wants to pee in the sandbox. Sorry, no more sandbox. You know what I mean? Like, because it's not worth me getting fucking gray hairs over this when I'm not even playing the goddamn game.
Yeah, for sure.
To have to deal with like, did you hear about, are you going to get banned because you were legally data mined? I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
But, I feel like either Nikita would have reached out to me or like some fucking CM.
For sure. I have a video on my YouTube channel called The Best New Resource for New Players, and it's all about BattleBuddy. You made a video about BattleBuddy. Almost 1 million people downloaded BattleBuddy. I reference it every day on my stream. There's a 0% chance that Battlestate Game doesn't know about it, and if they did know about it and they were against it, they would have approached you. And
I've explicitly spoken to Nikita about it.
Yeah.
Shown him information from it, screenshots from it when I'm showing bugs and other things like that. And I'm not even going to, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'll just say, if they have a problem with it, it would be news to me.
Yeah.
I'll just say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's unfortunate. I totally understand though. Yeah.
So anyway, that's that. We'll get that out of the way.
So that's that. No illegal data mining has been done here
by me.
By Veritas.
I'm just, dude, I didn't make the fucking crack. I'm just selling it.
I'm just selling the crack.
Officer, what do you mean? I didn't make the heroin.
Oh, man. Well, in other Tarkov related news, I see you put that. I was going to ask you about that Blazed clip. There's a clip from Blazed. He was streaming and some dude just flies up to him on reserve and it's like, shoot me, bro. Shoot me in the head, bro. And Blaze shoots him a bunch. He like flies out. He zips back. He's flying around and Blaze just disconnects. which
He's
is
got like a knee up in the
what
air.
a Chad
like
move.
Weird.
Yeah, it's like a mid-jump animation. He's got like his knee up. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's maybe the second time I've ever even seen a clip of someone fucking flying around. So I actually have like I want to hear your thoughts on this, because I feel like the reason why people are going to do that is because they want attention.
Yeah.
So I wonder if, and I'm not one to say like, don't shine a light on these people because they just want attention, but like, why do you think Landmark gets so many more of those types of people? It's because he's got more viewers, right? So I just wonder if these people are having clips posted of them being like, this is the state of Tarkov. I feel like and here's my gut. I could be wrong. I haven't played. Maybe it is the state of Tarkov, but my gut is that it makes Tarkov look worse than it is.
Yeah.
It adds fuel to the fire and might actually promote more people to do it. In very much the same way that people were criticizing me when I did the
interview with the cheater,
streamer who admitted to, I got to confess to cheating. You know, they said, oh, well, you're just glorifying this person and you're going to make more people do it. And honestly, I would argue, and I think anybody who watched it no way glorified it. And if anything, it made cheaters look sad and stupid.
Yeah.
So, but when you see a dude floating around like a fucking, shoot me, bro. Like all the fucking edgelord teenage douchebags love that shit, dude. They get rock hard on that. And they're like, oh, I want to do that. I want to go and fucking grief my favorite streamer. I want to go and grief my least favorite streamer. I want to go fuck with people.
So my opinion is pretty much directly in the middle. Like, I actually think that like Blazed. Here's what I would say. I would have done exactly what Blaze did, if I'm really honest with you. First of all, Blaze is awesome because he's not, at least from what I've seen, he's not tweeting all the time.
You wouldn't have added Battle State Games, though. I know you wouldn't have done that.
No, I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah, that took fucking balls, dude.
Did he really add them?
Oh, yeah. He's like,
did.
yeah, great game, Tarkov devs, with a clip of the cheater. And it's like, oh, that to me is like...
He tweeted, game is good, game is fine, at Battle State Games. Okay, I wouldn't have tagged them. I wouldn't have tagged them. But Blazed is cool because like he's not... I follow him, so he shows me my timeline all the time. He's not tweeting like these paragraph long... Devs are actual three-head idiots. There's more cheaters. Like I see that on my timeline from streamers, right? And Blaze is never doing that. He did tag them, which is ballsy. But like if I have that clip as a content creator, that's going to be a TikTok, right? Like that's going to go on my YouTube video. It's going to be on my thumbnail. Because it's hard not to, man, because content's the game, right? So like I totally understand that. And I've included clips of people who are cheating in my videos before, and I've like edited them so that like if the dude said his name, I'll cut that out. I don't want the guy to name. If the dude kills me, I won't show. A lot of times I'll have comments where like, why didn't you report him? And it's just because I didn't show the end screen because I didn't want to show his name. So stuff like that where like I'll try to do stuff like that, but it's hard because it's content. So Blaze, even in that tweet, he wasn't like, this is the literal most three-head game. He said, game is good, game is fine. And like, bro, I'll take a look at the past 10 highlight videos I've posted and look at the titles of them. You know, what the hell's happening in Tarkov? Like, I get it. I'm in it. So it's hard. I think that whole conversation is a little blown out of proportion. Do I think that maybe it's possible somebody watched your interview with a cheater thing and decided to cheat? Sure. Do I think maybe it's possible that 10 people were like, that guy is a sad, sad man, and I don't want to be a sad, sad man. Sure. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, but I don't think that a single tweet or a single interview with a cheater or a singer is going to do what anybody on the extremes side say. It's not a new ocean of cheaters aren't going to come into Tarkov because Blaze posts that clip. And you know what I mean? That guy's not going to make a bajillion rubles. So it's like, it's just kind of in the middle where it's similar to what you said about like, you can want the fog of war as much as you want, but it's not going to happen. As soon as you post a video, as soon as you post a new quest, it's going to get data mined. It's going to get completed by somebody. There's going to be a tutorial. Same way. It's like, I don't care if you're extreme on either end. If you're like, oh, like Veritas is interviewing this cheater. Everybody's just going to watch this and want to cheat. Everybody this, everybody that, everybody this. It's just like, that's not going to happen. And your expectation is probably not that like, no, like, it's just in the middle. I just don't really care. It's the content machine. What does frustrate me is that absolutely does add fuel to the fire. Like, people saw that, died to desync, and absolutely rage quit the game because they were like, oh, the cheaters are so bad. You know, people saw that tweet, you know, was looking at
63,000 views.
So was looking at a guy in front of them, a guy behind them shot at them and went, freaking cheater. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's hard. But the reality is also that like there aren't no cheaters. Like there are cheaters. So it's so hard. I was actually playing, I think Trey gets targeted because I never run into cheaters, bro. Obvious ones. Like we've said before, I've been in a billion raids with people with walls that don't want to, you know what I mean? Whatever. But I don't run into obvious cheaters very often. And me and Trey this morning, we were doing this thing where we would like, he was calling it nesting. We would go into labs and we would have big backpacks and we'd go drop them somewhere, and we had KS-23s and we were just creeping around getting loot, and we'd bring the loot back to our nest. And some dude, we had just gotten there, we dumped the bags, and some dude just barrels down the stairs and he's like, come on, man. He was like, I bet there's somebody ratting down here. And we were like, and he was like, I bet there's dudes ratting down here. He's like, I bet they have like freaking KS-23s or something. He was saying this over VoIP. And he was trying so hard to be like, you know, it's like you're playing hide and seek with your kid. It's like, I hope nobody looks under the bed. He was like trying to make it. It's like, I bet there's some dudes with KS-23s. And we were like, what the hell, bro? Anyways, Trey ended up killing him with an impact nade, which is great. But he just started. And then so that was the other thing. Then he said, I bet there's people down here with KS-23s. And we were like, what the hell? We both had KS-23s and 2 impact grenades. And he was like, I bet you rats have something like impact grenades, don't you? And we were just like, dude, like it was so. And then he shot me through the wall and killed me. And then Trey just threw an impact nade out the door in a panic and killed him. But like, but it's hard because like the whole thing is just, in my opinion, not worth losing sleep over for me anymore because I just can't control it. If I convince everyone in my circle to stop posting clips of cheaters, the amount of clips of cheaters, the percentage of the amount of clips of cheaters goes down less than 1%. Because my circle is not big enough, right? There are too many people who play Tarkov. There are too many people that stream Tarkov. There are too many people that post YouTube videos of Tarkov. There are too many Discords where people share clips. So if we somehow convince all our listeners and all of our followers and everything to let's stop posting clips of people cheating, it's a drop in the bucket. And so it's just like, I just have to stop. If I see a clip and I think it's funny, I'll chuckle. If I see a clip and it frustrates me, I just swipe on by. It just...
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't want to give the impression like I'm saying
oh,
you shouldn't have posted
yeah.
the clip. I watched,
just makes you think.
I watched that. Yeah, no, I watched that and I think like, you know, Battle State needs to see that. You know, people... The thing is that I just don't trust the masses.
Correct.
Quote unquote, the masses, because the average fucking random Twitter user in the Tarkov community is 16 IQ, especially if you go down and read the comments. I can't help but when I see that think, like, you know, that every single one of the bigger Tarkov content creator people, the types of people that will get, I'm picturing Landmark being like, yo dog, what up? And like talking to them and like hamming it up, and it's like great content. Yeah. But at the same time, it's like when you have 10,000 viewers and then you turn it into a YouTube video that gets 6-figure viewership and all that stuff, it's like,
if anything, I'm impressed that they don't do that because they could for really good free content.
Well, do they not?
No. I've never seen a single Landmark video or Glorious or Trey or any of those guys that run into them all the time. I haven't seen...
The only cheater stuff I ever see is from the bigger names. And again, I'm not saying that they shouldn't.
And that's people clipping it from their stream and posting it. If you look up Landmark cheater montage, you'll find it, but it's all 720p. People do it on their own. I don't think Landmark... I'm sure Landmark's clickbaited the cheater did what in some of his videos before, but I've never seen just like a 14-minute montage of on his channel of meme cheater content, and I'm sure it would get a bajillion views.
Landmark encounters a VoIP cheater, 285,000 views. I mean, that was only one, though.
Yeah, but that thing, how long is that video? That's probably just the one cheater. Like, you know what I mean? He's not like going
27 minutes
ham
long.
on it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it was probably a highlight video. Anyways.
Yeah, I'm not trying to call anybody out.
No.
I'm just saying, like, it makes me, when I see that, it makes me want to play Tarkov less, because I feel like more people are going to want to fucking do that to streamers.
Yeah.
It's they want to do it to streamers so that they can be the one in the clip and get the attention.
Yeah.
And there's only, there's hundreds of thousands of players and like a couple of dozen streamers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like,
for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I just hope that the trend doesn't. And of course, by me saying this, there's like 17 people in a cheater Discord right now that are like, "Oh, we're gonna get him. Can't wait till he gets back in the game so we can make him hate his life." Like, fine, if that's what they want to do, go for it.
Yeah.
I one of these days I'll probably just crack and say, "Fuck it, I'll do it for the content and make that paper." Maybe. But so far I haven't.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's crazy. It's rough. It's, who knows, man. I still am just so, I've just beat the conversation to death. Not like with you, but I'm saying like in chat, like when people ask, you know what I mean? It's like, is cheating really as bad as people make it out to be? And it's like, I'm just like, dude, I don't know, man. I don't know. I can tell you that I go weeks at a time without super blatant stuff. I maybe report one person a week. Most of those reports are like, there's enough that leads me to believe this guy could be cheating. We'll report it and we'll see how she goes, but maybe he wasn't. And I know people personally that send me clips every single day of them just like absolutely getting blatantly hacked on. So it's like, there's just, the real question is, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what you've heard, and just watch for a little bit and see.
Yeah, I guess my whole point though is that, like, as annoying as it is that the people are constantly coming in and asking about like the state of Tarkov, how much of that is because they saw a clip like that?
Yeah, a lot, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be 98% of it is either from clips like that or from people talking about,
how bad
I saw,
it is.
did you see the clip from X person or, whatever, where the person was just flying around? Yeah, dude, I see that in every raid. And then half the people are making the shit up.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, again, because I've seen 2 clips, I think, ever of someone fly hacking in 10,000 hours of playing the game. I've never seen it personally.
Yeah.
So it, like, unless it is blown up in the last 3 months since I stopped playing, which I somehow doubt.
No, I do think most of that stuff is targeting people, either targeting a big streamer or targeting someone specific. You know what I mean? For the shmemes.
Yeah, people want attention. That's the reason why a lot of people do a lot of the shit that they do. So, like, which is why basing like what your experience playing a game is going to be like on how a content creator, what they experience in their content, whether it's highlight videos or whether it's whatever, it's just unrealistic. It's the young boy equivalent of little girls reading fucking Teen Vogue magazine and getting like body image issues.
Yeah.
It's that, but for young boys playing video games. They want to be Giga Chad landmarks, and they expect to, that every time they die, it's all running around to cheaters.
Yeah.
Just like, I weigh 93 pounds. I'm morbidly obese. I need to lose more weight, and I need to wear more makeup, or whatever.
Also, check yourself if that's your opinion, because if you watch Landmark all night and he encounters one cheater and you go, man, there's cheaters are infesting Tarkov, just watch yourself the next time Landmark goes, man, this gun really should be nerfed. And then you go, well, you play 10 times more than the rest of us. You don't have the right thing. You're right. It's like you're
the same person.
Exactly. You can't be like, well, you play so much more than the rest of us. Your opinion is invalid. And if he plays so much more than the rest of us and runs into one cheater in a night, how can you then assume that all of your raids will have cheaters? Like, I thought he plays so much more than you. You know what I mean? So it's just like, Yeah. Oh yeah. And then there was a bug. There's like a bug in the game right now that you can like teleport. You can like jump and teleport, but like that's not even worth going into because like basically what you have to do is like go to your settings, put your game in windowed, like jump and then tab out and like grab the window and then like resize it, and basically it just completely negates that input. There's clips of people like jumping off of like mountains and then they just teleport back up to the top and they never jumped off. And it's like the actual impossible thing to do in combat. Like you could not do that and win a fight because from the like Velian did it. Velian was like, yo, I saw this. And so he did it to me. So from my perspective, Velian ran, he jumped off a bus, he hung in midair for an entire second, a solid second, and then he teleported back onto the bus. And he was like, while I'm doing this, I have like no input over my character and I'm floating in the air. So I could just,
it's the type of shit you would do in like a speed run.
Yeah.
To shave off 45 minutes.
Yeah.
It takes 6 minutes, but you take 45 minutes off the speed run. Yeah, but not something you'll
exactly.
experience
So it's
in
like
combat.
if you were fighting somebody, you win the fight if they try to do that bullcrap because they're going to hang in the air for a second and you can just shoot them and they have no input over the thing. So it's like, it was like, so it's so awkward and like people were kind of freaking out because like streamers were like showing how to do it and yeah, whatever. Maybe they'll fix it or whatever, but it's just like, you're not going to, it's not like the dolphin dive where like you're not going to run into somebody doing that. Bro, that reminds me, did you see any like, so the cheaters have already infested Warzone and in the Call of Duty, you know, the boats, they're flying the little pontoon boats around. They're like, they get to the ceiling of the skybox and just fly around until the circle gets down to just like them and one other person. And then they drop down. It's the most ridiculous thing, bro. Oh God. Anyways. All right. So that stuff out of the way. Let's talk about some of the like changes and stuff that's come to talk about the past few weeks. Have you seen at all the server infrastructure changes?
I saw all the
drama,
the thumbnails,
of course,
of all the videos.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So basically,
that's as far as I got.
You know how you can select your server? You can select one specific server and you can just only connect to that server.
Yeah, that's the anti-cheat, I thought, right?
Yeah.
How am I supposed to avoid cheaters now?
Yeah. Oh, bro. So, yeah, we'll talk about how ridiculous some of these push was. But the new system is it's regionalized. So now, like for instance, there's like 6 regions in America.
Like everybody else, like every game ever.
Yeah. There's NA North, there's NA East, there's NA South, there's NA Central, there's NA West. Now, let's for sure talk about the brutal thing that happened, which was there were lots of people in the world, in parts of Asia and in parts of Australia, that for 24 hours, they could not connect to a game. Zero.
Ruh-roh.
Because it grouped OCE and SEA, so Australia and Southeast Asia, it grouped that together. And because some of those people legitimately can only connect to 1 or 2 servers, they couldn't select those servers, they selected the region, and it kept trying to maybe connect them to an Asia server that needed a person. And as soon as they would spawn in, they would get ping kicked and then they had no control. And so for 24 hours, there were like a certain group of people that couldn't play. The literal very next morning, 24 hours later, they took the game down, they updated it, and now OCE is its own region. And so like I saw a screenshot, Pestily has like 22 ping to the OCE region, you know what I mean? And then like SEA was its own region. And so now because people in Asia aren't trying to be connected to Australia games and Australia is not trying to get connected, that is largely fixed. Everybody can play the game right now. As far as I know, if you're having trouble, you know, I can't do anything. I was going to say, let me know. I can't do anything. But it seems like that issue has been fixed. So what that has led to is in like a really noticeable difference in how full the raids are. I was never the guy that claimed I find dead raids. I would say most of my raids I wouldn't consider dead. However, I didn't realize that most of my raids were probably only 50% full or 70% full. Because like I didn't realize how subconsciously I was trained to get into 1, maybe 2 fights and then completely let my guard down. Like I just like.
Why are the raids like super full now? Or are you saying they're super dead?
Super full. Super full. Like I've run into a few that are quiet, but like most of the time they're super full. Like spawn fights. Like there are people like, you know what I mean? The other day.
So you're experiencing what the average person has been experiencing forever who just had auto.
Yeah. So, well, I had auto. I think I've changed. I selected every single, I didn't have auto on, but I selected every single server under like 120 ping. And then.
So why would something be different? Like, how would these changes have changed the number of players in a raid? And I guess that's what I don't understand.
Because more people now are basically on auto. As I was maybe a rare one that was on auto, and now more people are being filtered into all those servers I was given access to that were on just a few servers or were trying to connect to weird servers. So everybody was pushed into auto, and then the new logic or whatever infrastructure of it. Because I think alongside with regionalizing it, they messed with like it's trying to prioritize full raids. So if I can connect to a server with 22 ping and a different server with 28 ping, and the 28 ping customs queue needs one player to make it full, you know what I mean? I don't know. All I know is that the raids are much more full. Much more full, very noticeably. And every single person that I've talked to has said the exact same thing. Now, people started freaking out, and they were saying that it was going to be easier to stream snipe. They were saying it's going to be harder to get rid of cheaters. People are saying like, and then this one was rich. All the cheaters like to go to only a few specific servers that we all know to avoid, and now they're going to be everywhere. And I was like,
yeah. And then when you talked about,
what servers are that? I didn't know to avoid those servers. Like,
yeah. Well, I mean, I always thought this was funny when back in the day, I'd say maybe like a year ago, I asked the question like, how is it that all these people ended up with like a fucking billion rubles? Like a bunch of the bigger names all had a gajillion rubles, and when I would watch them, they would just run through interchange, see one PMC, loot the whole thing, and then leave. And it was like,
there's a lot of people that have I know people that have a labs server. When they want to play labs today, they close their game, they select a single server, they hop back in, and they run labs for 5 or 6 hours and make 8 to 10 million rubles.
Yeah, well, so I would say that my experience was different than theirs, and then I would get gaslit by a third of the community that would basically be saying, "Your dog shit compared to this person is so much better than you in combat. Look at this highlight video.
Look at how much money he has."
Yeah, look at how much money they make more money because they have more money, because they're better because they have more money, and that proof of that is because they have more money.
So they're better.
But then when I would watch that, they wouldn't see anything, and they would end up with 3 GPUs. And they'd get no fights. Meet up with like a stream sniping friendly player scav, have a funny VoIP encounter, and then leave.
Yeah.
And then when I talked to a couple of those folks, they're like, "Oh yeah, that's because I used these 3 servers at these time periods or I used this one server at this time period, and then at this threshold of like 5 p.m. I switch over to this time," because they wanted to be on as dead a server as possible to avoid PvP and to basically just make it so they could farm money. But the funny thing is that when I talked to different people, and they'd also say cheaters, person A would say, "You want to be on server 1, but not server 2, because that's where all the cheaters are." And then I talk to streamer B, and they'd say, "Server 2 is the one you want. Server 1 is full of cheaters." And it was like, legit. You don't have everybody's. It was just
it's all wives' tales. It's all confirmation bias. It's all whatever. I don't know, man. And maybe there were some servers that there are some cheater discords that they said, let's use these servers. But I would say if that server existed and 10 people told me what the server was, I would get 8 different answers and I wouldn't believe any of them. I'm not saying that it doesn't exist. I'm saying what you're saying and what I agree with is that if it exists, none of us know. And how we all think we know is mostly confirmation bias and less actual knowledge. I completely agree with that. So it's like, it's weird because like this is a normal thing, right? Like it was weird that in an FPS game you could select your server. Like it's normally either regions or you can't select anything, right? It just auto selects for you.
Or it's like a DayZ where there's a fucking server list.
Or
because they're individual servers.
Exactly. Like the only first-person shooters that do this are ones that highly support mods that then everybody can create their own servers. There's a server browser. Those people that run those servers can put ping limiters in. Like you can't just say, well, Battlefield, you can pick your server. That's very different. In Battlefield, you can create your own game and game mode and server list and put your own ping lock on it if you want, or take it away. It's very different. But Call of Duty, Apex Legends, it's either regional or you don't pick it all.
Yeah, and even back in the day, like honestly, nothing changed significantly with the servers other than the groups got bigger.
Yeah.
Before, Miami wasn't one server. It wasn't one computer.
Yeah.
Where one group of people with one raid, right?
Yeah.
It was a cluster of,
yeah.
I don't know how many, dozens, hundreds, thousands. I have no idea. So now it's just no longer you're on Miami. Now it's, NA East, and it takes the 4 servers that you had, and now it's 14 in one selection. So
exactly,
it just expanded the things that already existed to be larger now. So you have less granular control.
Now, a legitimate negative of this is people can't play together across from other continents nearly as consistently, right? So if someone is living like, if I'm trying to play with somebody in EU, like Tweak, right? Tweak can't connect to every single NA East server, right? He can't connect maybe to Miami because Miami is way west of him and south, but he can connect to Boston. So we could both just select Boston. I can connect with good ping, he can connect with good ping, and we can both play. But
his
now
ping might be like 90 or something.
But now he has to select, Tweak is in Texas now, but you know what I mean. Now he would have to select NA East. And if NA East tries to put us in Miami, well, he would never even try to queue for a raid in Miami because he knows that's too far away, but the system doesn't know. It'll put us in a raid in Miami. He'll get immediately ping kicked. And especially people that are in like Australia that try and connect with people on the West Coast, there were only a few servers they connect to. That is a very obvious downside, and that's very frustrating. And I saw Desmond tweet about this, and I think Pesley mentioned this too. I don't see how this would be a problem. Maybe you can, and I'm scared to talk about this in chat because I feel like I'm going to get a billion answers that aren't real answers. So maybe you tell me. Why not have no server select, no region select? It just automatically, like in Call of Duty, you log in and it knows where you are and it's trying to keep you in low ping servers, and then remove the ping limit. So as a solo, you couldn't queue into high ping servers for a picker's advantage because you don't get to select. But if I linked up with Pestily, it would just put one of us on high ping and we would know that freaking anyway. Then everyone can play together and you can't solo ping, you can't solo queue high ping servers if you think that gives you an advantage. I don't see why that isn't the logical conclusion to this, because then it kind of works for everybody.
I mean,
maybe there's an issue that I'm not seeing.
I don't know. Obviously, because Tarkov's basically the only game that does this. Not the only game, but like pick fucking 10 first-person shooter games. Tarkov is the only one out of the top 10 that'll come to your mind. There's no reason why that isn't specific to Tarkov. It could be that they want to. I don't know. Maybe it's someone mentioned VPN. Maybe it's like they're trying to prevent people running fucking virtual machine VPN cheats on top of all that shit. And then I don't know.
But my thought is like, because some people have said that to me before too. It's like, so in that version of reality, I haven't been given an answer of something that somebody couldn't use right now. Like you can use a VPN to get past the system now. So making that change and making it better for everybody that doesn't use a VPN, it's just those people that were going to VPN were probably going to VPN anyway because they're probably region locked anyway. So it's like that I don't understand. You know, somebody was like, well, the people that still want to do that, they would just like get a friend to invite them and then disconnect. And I'm like, okay, so what you're saying is this solution would make it harder for them, but not impossible. I don't see why that wouldn't be beneficial. Like, yeah, it's not impossible, but it's still harder. Like, you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm not a network specialist here. I don't know, but it seems like to 99% of the player base, that would be a dub, because most likely the largest majority of the player base didn't even know there was a server selector anyway. And so a lot of the casual players probably didn't ever select their server, so they wouldn't care if it auto-picked them for them. And then for a large majority of the player base that play with friends across the countries or whatever, they would benefit from that change too. And
I don't know, like my gut tells me that like either it's community members that would like backlash if they removed it, or maybe even content creator backlash.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, I don't know.
But but I think that it's largely something that is maybe understandable in the context of a game in beta, and you want to be able to, if there's issues with some server, you want to be able to have the people have control. I don't know.
Yeah,
I really genuinely hope that they remove all of that shit when the game goes 1.0 because it doesn't belong. You could argue something like that might possibly belong in a beta.
Yeah, and that makes sense. And definitely, you know this, but for everybody, my attitude isn't because I can't come up with a reason. There are no reasons, right? Like, that's why I asked you legitimate, because you might have more network information. You don't know. Maybe there's a reason. Maybe you're, like you said, maybe there's a specific reason they want to do it this way, and that wouldn't work for Tarkov. I just don't know what that is. And I heard, and I've seen more than one person suggest that solution online, where it was like, if we just got rid of the ping limit and you couldn't select, then most people don't notice except for the benefits. But yeah, maybe that's something they're working towards. Maybe this was a first step to that. I would say for me, selfishly, this change has been beneficial because raids are fuller. Also, there was a thing where it was like, a lot of people were like, well, it only helps the PvP chads. And I think like that, I think that's an invalid argument as well. Like, I don't think that's fair. Like, this is a game that was meant to be played with other players, right? Like, the intention of the game was not that the servers be half full, or in some cases potentially empty. And so leveraging information about what servers are empty at what time, and then using that to play your own version of this game as a PvE game, I don't think it's wrong for them to like try to fill the raids. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that is exclusively helping PvP chads. Like, you might not realize, not you, but the proverbial you who's like, well, that only helps the PvP chads. You might not realize how many people come into my streams and say, man, I'm really struggling on shoreline quests. How did you get kills at the pier? Like, how did you get kills? You know what I mean? It's like, those people aren't trying to beat PvP Omega chads. They're trying to do the things the game is asking them to do, and they can't find people. You know what I mean? So it's like, the game is supposed to be a PvP game. You know what I mean? And the flip side of that is, just because you didn't see anybody doesn't mean it was a dead raid, right? Like, the point, I'm glad that the servers are full, but I still hate the spawn system. I want the servers to be full, but I still don't want I want the ambiguity. I don't want to know where people are. I don't want to know where people spawn. I don't want to know where people are extracting, but I want there to be a threat. I want the servers to be full. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really give a fuck about the server stuff. Like, in a nutshell, like, I've never cared. I've always just generally hated the conversation around servers and around ping, and around ping abuse and people's advantage and blah blah blah. And it's just so much misinformation, so much.
I mean, I hate that conversation too. Yeah, absolutely.
So like, I just I mean, like, I hopefully it helps some people. Hopefully it doesn't harm. Like, hopefully it helps more people,
for sure.
Or the devs do what the fuck they need to do. You know, like, the amount of people in a raid is something that should be independent from like server selection.
Yeah.
Like, server selection should be like something that is reserved for technical, infrastructural, non-gameplay things.
Yeah.
And it should be, in my opinion, obfuscated from the players. Like, it shouldn't even be a thing. So any of the other issues, like if raids are too poppin', or if they're too dead, or whatever, the issue should be solved with like a matchmaking system changes, not to server selection changes. You know, like, that's such a ass backwards way of looking at it.
Yeah,
so,
I mean,
like,
they didn't say we're changing the servers to fill out raids. It was just the most immediate change, right? They said we're reworking the server infrastructure. It could have been for completely different reasons. Immediately, everybody that plays the game a lot was like, wow, the raids are fuller. So we were all like, it was the fill raids change, when that's not fair either, because they didn't say that.
Yeah, I wonder. I need to like run in my head how exactly, because there's a lot of variables. There's like the server selection, there's the time of day, there's the frequency at which people enter raids. There's the logic around the matchmaking, right? Like if you like just walking through like totally like stupid from scratch, the logic about a matchmaking system. You enter the queue and it says, okay, there's a person connecting to server 1. Let's see, is there anybody else connecting to server 1? Let's put them in like queue 1.
Yeah.
They get put in a line, right? Like imagine a fucking bank.
Yeah.
Where the tellers all come in, but it's all dynamic.
Yeah.
Right? So like one person gets in line, what they're not going to do is say, cool, you go into that raid and start the raid, go. You're going to sit and it's going to say matchmaking, because it's going to, part of what it's doing is it's going to look to see if there's anybody else in the queue in the same region at the same time.
Yeah.
But then also there has to be logic around, all right, let's wait and see. Okay, we have 2 people. Cool. Maybe that's the threshold to say, okay, well now the bus is leaving in 90 seconds.
Yeah.
Maybe it takes 4 people. Maybe it takes 3.
Yeah.
Some people have said, Nikita has said you can never be in a raid by yourself. I think there is compelling evidence for where I would say that it might not have always been the truth all the time, always, right? Like I might get into like a night factory raid trying to do a quest where it's like none of the doors were open. I heard nothing.
Yeah.
Everything was locked. I spawned in near the exit and like didn't leave the area. So like I would have heard someone go out gate 3, whatever. Yeah. But there's still a chance that someone was in the raid somehow. And it's also the chance that Nikita wasn't lying, but there was just a bug.
Yes.
Right? Like that maybe like the logic, just like the whole scavs don't aim at your legs. They don't aim at your legs, but they hit your legs because there's a bug. So it could have been something like that, right? But so at some point they have to look for people, and then they have to decide when it's like a bus filling up. When is the bus going to leave?
Yep.
At some point, sometimes the bus will stay there for a short period of time because there's stragglers that come in right at the end, right? What you don't want is to have a bus come, one person walk on, and then have the bus wait 90 seconds and then leave, and then have 2 people show up at 91 seconds and be like, what the fuck? And then have to wait for another bus, because there's limited buses. There's limited bus drivers, i.e. servers in this example. So really what you kind of need to do, I think, is, if you're like a smart indie developer, what you're going to do is just come up with some arbitrary rules. Like, just make sure there's at least 3 minimum people. Have them wait as long as it fucking takes until you get 3, and then the bus can go. But then you might find out that like the average, after 90 seconds is 3, but after 96 seconds is 5. Like the 2 people are always showing up at this interval, right? Because obviously if you think people are coming at a semi-random but semi-regular, 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 7 seconds, 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 7. There's like an average where it's like if you wait 4, you're going to end up with only 2 people a raid. If you wait 6, you're going to end up with 4.
Yeah.
So they can figure out what the best timing is,
the most,
and then hard code that in. But then also, if the more sophisticated you get, you make that all dynamic and you make it smart, and you make it, know this time of day in this region. You make it all dynamic. You spin up servers as they come. When it's popping, it says, okay, we're going to wait 90 seconds for 12. Oh, we got 12.
Yep.
Start the raid.
Send it.
Let's go. And that's when you fucking queue for 3 seconds, because a lot of people happen to queue.
Yep.
But if you think about, how many total players are there at any given time in your region? Let's just say there's 100, right?
Yeah.
If there's 100 players in like a 3-hour period, you are going to maybe do like 2 or 3 raids in a 3-hour period. So you have to think about, well, that means if you're going to do 3 raids in a 2-hour period and there's 100 people, you got to figure out like the average number of people that are going to be queuing in any given, because you don't want to wait 45 minutes.
Yep.
So there's some logic around like how long you wait, how many people per server, whatever that, again, I don't know. I just don't know.
But it seems like it would make sense to me if their idea was to dynamically turn off and on servers, that would make sense that there are more people in, right? Because like if that's what they were doing, if you're only connected to Miami 2, you're just going to connect to Miami 2. But if they wanted to be like, if they're like, man, there's not enough load on East Coast, we have 3 servers in Miami, let's spin down 2 of them. but they can't do that if you're only selected,
Yeah.
So now if you're regionally and it's like, let's spin down Miami 2, Atlanta 3, and this, well, now there's less bus drivers to accommodate the fact that there are less players and the raids, the buses are fuller, but they can't do that if people select their own servers. So by regionalizing
one bus stop now serves 100 blocks instead of 3 blocks.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
you're just gonna have more people showing up at any given time to that bus stop.
It's not more people playing Tarkov, it's there are less raids, and so there are more people in those raids. And so maybe that was it. Maybe it had nothing to do with like their attempts to fill out whatever, but it was like they were testing the ability to dynamically turn off and on servers, which could be something that they were attempting to do and flesh out the kinks of before Streets. You know what I mean?
It'd probably save them a bunch of money too, right?
Exactly,
like you'd rather have 10 raids with 10 people in each raid than have 100 raids with one person, because every single raid is a fucking spun up server instance on a computer that needs to do that. And they're probably paying for all of that at every different data center at different rates all across the world. Not that they'd like need to pinch pennies, but like, listen, if you're running a business,
for sure,
why would you not try to optimize?
Or if you're in a place of the world where you think it would be nice to have more servers, then them saving money on their server infrastructure by being able to optimize other parts of the world might mean that they can then open up more servers in parts of the world that need it. Maybe we don't need 7 Miami servers, but maybe you do need a few more OCE servers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And also think about it this way. Everybody is selecting one fucking server. And then, well, the other thing is people are always complaining about the queue time. And it's like, how many servers do you have selected? Oh, I have 1. Well, then you're a fucking idiot. Use your head.
Yeah.
But if Streets is going to have 600 fucking people or whatever they're saying in the raid, if they really want to test out that ability and actually fill the raids up on, I mean, if you think Shoreline is a dead raid, what about, I mean, if you think Reserve is a dead raid because everybody either went underground or nobody went underground, I mean, if there are dead factory raids, and that is like you can reach out and touch every PMC as soon as you spawn, think about how big Streets is and how many people they want on it. There's going to be 2 people on like a fucking city. It's going to be like I Am Legend. You're going to assume you're the only human being alive, everybody's going to be Will Smith.
Yep.
God, you can't even Will Smith got canceled.
And the dog. Oh, we can't have nice things.
So I can't have nice things. Everybody's going to get canceled.
So, like as per usual, they didn't explicitly state their intention for the change. So the change happened. The very first thing we see as a result of the change becomes the reason that changed. So people are like, oh, they did the change so the raids can be full. There are some legitimate negatives for people. Some of those negatives were immediately addressed. Some of those negatives maybe will hopefully be addressed in the future. There seem to be some immediate positives as well. And we don't know if any of those positive or negatives were the main reason for the thing. So we'll just see. But it's something that happened. And I agree. Honestly, the less people can talk about servers, the better. So regionalizing them, I think, will help a little bit with that. You know what I mean?
Because less people can talk about, insert in brackets here, anything they don't fucking know about.
True.
The better. Servers.
True.
Is one of them.
True. And then other than that, we did get, so last week we talked a little bit about a Q&A that Nikita did, and then but we got the actual full question and answer list translation. It was the Girls of Tarkov podcast, which is obviously a Russian podcast that some ladies do, and they translated it. So it was interesting. There were some like interesting tidbits in here about Streets. And he was saying like, basically, all right, so I'll read excerpts. I'm not going to read the whole thing. So there will be, the city itself is quite large. We designed it in such a way that we could gradually expand Streets of Tarkov. The first iteration will be the part of the location that's closer to the center without suburbs. So suburbs was a map on the map, and suburbs got absorbed by Streets. Initially, the suburbs were planned to be a separate location, but we decided to move it into Streets. At the moment, the key task is to make the main city. It will be the large part where some buildings will be closed, most of it will be open. Ambitious task, yada, yada, yada. He said multiple times, we pay special attention to optimizing the location itself so the players have the same or better than Lighthouse. So he made So Lighthouse has been optimized a ton. It's obviously still one of the worst running maps, but like it's a lot better than when it first came in. And so I think he's trying to say that it's not going to be another Lighthouse, where like they're trying to make sure that on every system they can, you get the same frames you get on Lighthouse or better. Listen, I'm not saying that that's going to happen. I'm just saying that's what he's saying. And then in some of those, he said there will be many points of interest bases, patrols, for example, within one house and the surrounding streets, we already need a minimum of 15 scavs, and that's only one house of many. All this requires implementation that will allow us to place up to 100 entities, players, and NPCs at a time in the first iteration. I don't know. So basically, the thing there was like that it's interesting hearing them saying they're basically starting with the middle of streets and expanding out, and that there will be like suburbs will be like kind of an outward suburb of that, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, they're using middle out compression.
Middle out compression.
Speaking of, did you know I played Tarkov with Thomas Middleditch?
Yes, I do remember that. I remember watching that and being super jealous. I see him stream sometimes because I followed him that day.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish I still had the footage. I deleted it because I needed hard drive space. So now there's like no proof.
I'm your proof. I remember.
Yeah, well, you're a fucking paid actor.
That's true.
Nobody's gonna believe you.
He said no bosses in the first iteration. He talked a little bit about the BTR. Remember that trailer where like the Nada tank shows up? He was saying that like that's not going to be in the first iteration, but the player will have the ability to pay for a ride, and for an extra fee, you'll also be able to use the turret. So I think it's going to be like the train in the Warzone.
Pay for a ride? What do you have to buy carnival tickets? What do you mean on the tank?
Yep. So I think it's going to be like the train in Warzone that basically just circles the map nonstop. And so if it comes up, you can like pay a certain amount and hop in if you just want to use it to get to a certain part of streets. Or for an extra fee, you can just sit up top on the gun and hope you find somebody. Which I think is sick. I think that's kind of dope. Basically, to like summarize a lot of the street stuff, it seems like they really are, once again, who knows, whatever, I'm just saying, it seems like they really are trying to take the optimization seriously, and instead of forcing in a bunch of the crazy features that they wanted to eventually get into streets, that they're saying, hey, we're just going to try and get streets up live and optimized, and then we'll put the bosses in, and then we'll put the BTR in, and then we'll put the like destructible environments in, like, but first we want to make sure that like we can push it live and it be stable, which honestly I think is the smart thing to do. He talks about the destructible environments that we saw in that trailer, but that's largely just like very specific places that will give you those context clues, like the walls all cracked up, you know what I mean? And you can throw a grenade at it, or he said you can put a landmine.
I actually don't give a fuck about the destructible environments. What I do care about, though, is something I hadn't noticed until, I don't know what I was, I think I like accidentally had auto playing like new videos or something, and then ended up woke up halfway through like a nice guy video. Because I don't explicitly, like, his videos are great.
Yeah.
I just never explicitly like click on Tarkov videos these days. But there was like a clip where like a PMC walked past like a basketball and it like kicked the ball.
Oh yeah.
And now I'm just like, I just want to play offline mode soccer.
I want to play
like
soccer.
That's literally all I care about. I fuck the destructible environment. I mean, like, I only say that because like the destructible environment is like the dynamic environments where it's not just JPEGs of junk around. Like you can actually move some of this shit, and so I'm just gonna do like soccer fight club.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
He talked a little bit about like labs, saying that like the question was, will the lab location no longer be on the map at the main menu? And he said yes. I don't think he means in this first iteration, because I don't think we're getting map to map travel, but he was just confirming again that like you won't be able to queue into labs on your own. Which brings up a lot of questions. They asked a little bit, he didn't really answer about like, what does labs look like then? Like if you say you go on streets and you're the only person on streets that wants to go labs, and you go into labs, is it then generating another server? Is it a dynamic server that people can infill and exfil from whenever they want? Are you then just put into a server where a bunch of other people that are playing streets go into labs? Like, lots of questions there. But he didn't answer any of them. He said there will be sniper scavs on the roofs of some of the buildings. And that he said we'll be able to get access to some roofs of the buildings, but not all. He kind of went on a little tangent talking about how like you're not going to be able to go into every room in every building in all of Streets of Tarkov. Like we're trying to go with like our level of in-depth and realism and being able to touch all these places, but he was like, it's just not feasible to just go in every room in every building and every skyscraper on every floor. And I was like, yeah, that's fine. I don't really expect that.
Yeah, because every room, it's going to be like, I mean, even dorms is too many.
Yeah, like rooms.
Like half of the rooms are locked, and the half that are unlocked, are locked with keys that you can even use. Some of them are locked and there's not even keys, and even half of those are completely useless. And really, only like 3 of those are actually like people go into for loot.
Yeah. So that was fine. Once again, we just want to get the map out and optimize. I don't need to be able to go into every single room. He talked a little bit about like landmines and stuff like that, but not that they're just mentioned them. There was a question about the arena. Can you share with us the state of the arena? He said, again, it's going very well. Everything is going to schedule. He said there's a separate team working on the arena, but we also have to get the EFT team developers involved to resolve tricky issues, which makes sense because they've said multiple times they want the games to be connected if you have both. So like some of the devs have to talk to each other. We will let you know very soon when the beta will start and how the mechanics will work. You will have to understand that there are a lot of connected things with the arena, the launcher, the website, the back end. But that makes sense. One of the questions was, will there be a 1v1 mode on arena? And he said yes. It's cool. What are some of the other important questions? People asking to be able to like shoot people, like being able to shoot your guns while unlocking doors or like breach and clears. You know, he's saying it's all planned. This was interesting. Are there any plans to allow players to use repair kits in raid? And this is what we talked about last week, which is basically what he said. A full-fledged repair in the field is not a thing. Replacing armor plates in the field is possible. In the future, we will add custom durability indicator to each element of the weapon where each part has its own durability. Maybe it would be possible, for example, if you found a weapon with a bolt, you can change it to make your weapon repaired. So basically, yeah, you can't take the parts, take the armor and repair it in raid, but you could replace it with another armor plate. Like if you killed somebody with a headshot, kind of like we were talking about. So that makes sense to me. I don't want to be able to actually like, yeah, repair things and like be pulling bullets out. But if you find a fresh plate, you can, there's the potential to be able to like swap in raid, swap weapon parts, swap armor plates so that you can continue playing. But the repairing of stuff happens in the hideout.
I feel like, I don't know why this just popped into my head, but I feels I don't know, maybe worth mentioning. Maybe this is what they're planning. I don't know, but I never really thought much about the whole like weapon repairing system stuff until you just explained that. Where I don't know, it feels to me like every gun should have like 2 moving parts on it that have their own like durability.
Yeah.
And then also maybe potentially, like kind of like a meta property that is like lubricated or something where that like even if you have brand new parts, if it's not lubricated, that's how you get like capped at like 90, but you can't, when you repair it, it's like 89, 85. You know how like whereas I think if you have a gun that's put 8 billion rounds through it, but you put a new spring, a new bolt in it, and you lubricate it, it should be 100%.
Yeah.
I almost feel like, you know, in raid without the ability to like take the gun apart, which I think in the future, if you had like a weapon repair kit, then if you've got 10 minutes, then you should be able to strip the gun, clean it, put it back together, replace it with a new fucking bolt carrier group or whatever, and it should be brand new.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I do kind of like the idea of, and yeah, of having like those parts, and maybe those parts. Oh, see, this is all interesting. If it wasn't like a looter shooter where you lost your shit.
Yeah.
Like if you had a gun, imagine like Skyrim, right? Like you have a sword for like days and days and days and days, you know, like until you find something better, you use like this one weapon. It makes sense to have all these longer term things where it's like you might have to repair it multiple times, replace different parts. But when on average you're gonna keep a thing for one raid, the more I think about all of the whole repairing mechanics and all that stuff, it just makes less sense.
Well, that's why I like the direction he was saying of instead of repairing, replacing. Instead of like repairing these things, it's like if you find something that you can just like swap it out with, you kill a guy with an M4 and your M4 is super low durability, maybe you can swap the bolt or whatever, because then that system leans more to like, as long as you're alive, you can do those things, but it's not like overcomplicating a thing that nobody's going to do. Armor is a great thing because like being able to swap out plates is awesome. And then being able to take them back because certain plates, like certain the class 5 killa plates, they repair really well. So you'd want to take them out, put them in your bag so that you can take them back to your hideout and repair them. But you're not pulling out a hammer in the raid. You know what I mean? It's like you just swapped it out. So that seems like it makes sense to me.
All right, this might be a hot take, but I feel like even looking at where Tarkov is going to be in the future, like the way it is now and completely done as like it's in my head, which I'm sure is maybe 90% of what it's actually going to be. I just feel like weapon durability could just fucking go away.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I'd be fine if like every gun had a set percentage chance to malfunction. I think there's value in that.
Yeah.
Because it adds a little tiny bit of randomness where, you know, or maybe it's determined by, you know, if you're shooting a fucking 75 round drum super long, it's more likely to malfunction. If you have a big magazine, because that's true that a lot of those, you know, off-brand high cap mags, they don't feed as well and they're less reliable. So then there's a trade-off around like,
I agree.
There's a little bit extra weight, there's a little bit handling penalty, and there's the potential to chance of malfunction, which balances everybody carrying around an LMG with 1 million bullets all the time, right? Like you need those balancing. I just don't think that they're like, why do we need fucking weapon durability?
I couldn't agree more. And arguably those are the things that have been more impactful. Right now, suppressors hugely increase your malfunction chance of sustained because it can overheat. And high capacity mags, the longer you shoot, the more durability. So it's like you could shoot 6 bursts of 10 bullets and your gun might go down 2 durability. But if you shoot all 60 rounds holding the trigger down, your gun might go down 7 durability. Like that's in the game right now. And though I would completely agree, like those things are far more effective at communicating that realism of weapon durability than weapon durability. Because weapon durability, it's like it's just arbitrarily like, because like the weapon durability in the game should be on a scale of 1 to 10, not 1 to 100, because nothing ever gets below 90%. As soon as it gets down to 95%, if you realize that you just replace the gun, you know what I mean? It's like it doesn't go to below 90. The scavs have 20s and nobody ever uses them. You know what I mean? So it's like I completely agree that to translate that, I would much rather them just invest more in like exactly certain magazines, maybe certain barrel lengths, suppressors, those types of things can just percent chance to malfunction. So you might build a really heavy, really high capacity mag, suppressed gun, and you know that all these things added together means you have an 11% chance of malfunctioning. I feel like that just does a better job at it than the current gun durability.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's like caring about the durability of my gun in Tarkov's. It makes me, it's like stressing out about a rental car.
Yeah.
Like
you're not going to have it very long.
You shouldn't have to give a fuck about a rental car. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like obviously you should respect the property, right? But at the same time, it's like any maintenance like mechanic.
Yeah.
It's only like valuable in the long term, right? Like you want to take care of your shit.
Yeah.
But if it's going to be your shit for on average less than 1 raid.
Yeah.
On average, half a raid. Then like the long-term taking care of your thing and maintaining a thing, I don't know, it seems just like a pointless, like a pointless sort of system. So, yeah, I mean, maybe that's my hot take, I guess. Fucking remove durability from the game.
I think that's a cold mother flipping take, though. I think 90% of the Tarkov players would agree with you. Like, I think people are just like, they just don't. It just doesn't do what it wants to do, and it exactly like you said. It all all the gear seems rented anyway. Like the guns, you're just not going to have them very long. If you have the ability to multiple times a day survive 10 to 12 raids on a single gun, well, then you can afford just buying another gun when you die. It's not like you're like, oh my God, that was my only mutant. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What would you think the average, someone just asked this, what would you think the average survival rate is? My guess is 30%.
If we're including every single player in the game that plays, my like semi-regularly, I would absolutely put it at like 30 to 40%. Man, actually, no, 30. I would say like 25 to 35%, probably.
I in the last, I would say 2 years, I'm like 33%.
Yeah.
Now, I would say that I'm probably like slightly better than the average player just because I have so much time. But I also play in a way that is not optimal for surviving. I will go after every fight. I don't care if I have the quest item in my bag, like, because that's what I enjoy. I enjoy fights more than I enjoy survival. So I know there are a lot of people that are going to be like, what? Mine's 60%, mine's 70%. And I go after every single fight. I'm a Giga Chat. Okay, well, fine.
Yeah.
But
you're not the average.
Yeah.
You're telling me that because you think it's impressive, and you think it's impressive because you think it's not the average. So shut up, because we're talking about the average.
Yeah, and there's two types of people that are saying that. I'm picturing the guy at the gym who's like fucking super jacked and is like, not everybody fucking curls 75-pound dumbbells. What do you mean? You're like, just don't be a fucking idiot, right? Yeah. And then the other part is I'm picturing the person who's skinnier than me sitting behind his keyboard being like, yeah, what do you mean, dude? You can't fucking dumbbell lift fucking 75 pounds when he's never fucking lifted more than the little blue plastic purple fucking grandma 7.5-pound dumbbell, right? Like, so either way, it's just, it's stupid. If you're going to be the person that's going to fucking brag about your survivor rate, good. You're either above average or you're lying.
Yeah.
So just shut the fuck up about it.
Because survival rate doesn't realistically go to 100. It goes to 70. like realistically, like the best players in the world, like have like a 70 towards the end of a wipe will have like a 70-75% survival rate. Like, it's just like, that's basically the cap, because you're just like, there's so much bullcrap you're going to die to that's not your fault. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way to have like 100% survival rate. So when the scale goes from 1 to 75 or 1 to 80, then, you know what I mean? Having it be like 30 to 40, like that just feels like it has to be somewhere in there. But
yeah. And so many people just only do the fucking pocket watch quest connected to the one dead server at nighttime, and they avoid all PvP and run away from all gunshots. And then they lie to themselves and think that they're fucking PvP.
Yeah, or they extract camp, you know what I mean? Or they run, you know what I mean? Yeah, exclusively nighttime.
Or they have 32 raids and they're bragging about their fucking 82%. It's like, yeah, dude, I have a fucking 100% survival rate for the first 7 raids of every wipe. And then after that, it goes 92%, 83%, 62%, 42%, 36%, 35%, 34%, 34%, 33%, 33%, 33%. And then maybe if I have like a good 2 days of Tarkov, it'll be 34%, 35%, 34%, 34%, 35%, 33%, 33%.
Mine always drops significantly after I get Kappa. I got Kappa, I think, with a 70%. It was my best wipe ever, and I've lost 10% since then. I think I'm at 60 or 59.
And I also wonder how, like, to compare squad play versus solo play. Huge. I mean, like, just think about fucking when we played DMZ. I mean, DMZ is different than Tarkov, but not tremendously different, right? Like, we didn't encounter like any difficulties when we fucking grouped up together. Yeah. Whereas I didn't not die.
Yeah.
In every single
solo.
raid
Yeah.
When I was solo. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Some questions were asked about like after action, getting more information. He confirmed, will we see feedback on reports of suspicious players? And he said, yeah, they're working on it. So, being able to be like, hey, the person you reported was banned. They talked a lot about the events, which is really interesting because like he was saying, this is Nikita's response. This is a good one to read. Cause like, what was your favorite event that you did? Do you like them to be more hardcore or relaxed? And he said, I, of course, love the hardcore. I love when people struggle, when the event entices you, not just a farming thing, but an event where people realize when they're in it, they have to give it all they've got. I don't really like simple events that change some parameters and don't fundamentally move the gameplay, but when they are necessary, not everyone can participate in hardcore events. A lot of new players come in and think, all right, cool, let's play. And then there's hell going on. Scavs are attacking everyone. Bosses are running around with sights. And the new player thinks, where the heck am I? And I was like, man, that's just so funny because it shows you that he's like, with the events, he's in like dream world. He's like, it would be so cool if new players came in and they were like, whoa, what is this? But the reality is you just get shot in the face from 900 yards away and you don't have time to think, this seems different. You're just dead.
Or
dead
you don't even know it's
That.
different. You think that's the game and then you never come back and play again.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Or like you didn't realize that you know what I mean? You didn't know there was a Santa, so you didn't realize you just tanked your scav karma. You didn't know you were intoxicated because when have you been before and you just die of starvation? You know what I mean? So it's like, it was interesting to see like he's so in the dream world of like, which I get. I totally get that. But it's just like so often not how it gets translated.
Well, yeah, and it's also, I mean, like that's, I almost never agree with anybody when they say, because Nikita doesn't play his game, because I think that's almost always disingenuous, douchey comment. But in this kind of context is where that kind of idea sort of begins to make a little bit of sense, because some of these events would be amazing in a perfect world, in a perfect game.
Yeah.
But when half of the raids you deal with all of the issues that I don't even need to, desync cheaters, lag, fucking stuttering, audio, broken AI, stupid bullshit, to add on all of these other things, it's literally salt in an open wound.
Exactly.
When all Nikita's thinking about is how much he loves salt on his favorite pasta dish. And it's like, dog, you don't like, you're not thinking about it in the right context, right? It's not spaghetti. This is a gaping wound in my leg, right? I know they might look similar.
It's not spaghetti. It's a gaping wound. No, I mean, I completely agree. And that's exactly what you said it more eloquently, but that's exactly what I was trying to say. It's like he sees these things in a vacuum and it through the lens of a completed and perfect Tarkov, and adding a little bit of extra pressure, add a little bit of extra tension and stress is a good thing. But when what we have is so busted and broken, it's just, he ended the quote by saying events should be vivid, memorable, and short. Which I find to be interesting.
Like my sex life.
Yep. He talked a bunch more about events and Halloween events, and they even asked a little bit about some of the stuff about like, you know, do you guys, you know, use events to like test out some stuff? For instance, like the person that asked the questions are like, okay, we had the little Halloween boxes where you couldn't open them in raid. You had to go open them out of raid and you get stuff from them. It was like candy and chocolate. It'd be really cool to find little, maybe small sized med cases that you don't know what's inside it and you have to go pry the lock in the hideout, or, you know, like wallet, like I was like, that would be really cool. Like, in addition to all these loot, like there's a thing where you're like, is this worth taking out? I don't know. You prioritize, you take it out, and it's like a little loot box, not like a paid loot box. And he said basically, yeah, he was like, you know, a lot of that stuff we use to either like test out a mechanic or do something. And I was like, that's kind of cool.
Dude, I would love that. I would love that. I mean, I don't know if I have ever thought of that particular idea. I know I've talked about like the whole concept, just general concept of like the whole gacha mechanic and how like cool it is to like open up like loot crates and stuff like that. And how fucking cool that would be. I still think that like marked room shouldn't be like marked room and all of these the rooms that are locked behind keys, especially like rare keys and like marked room now, or maybe even like labs, some of the key cards and stuff. It'd be so much cooler if like you'd go in there and there was like a pallet of stims or something where it was like, you know, like or a weapons case with a bunch of stripped down weapons in it.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, you'd have people that would, you know, depending on the spawn rate of it, it would either farm it, or you'd have to make the, you know, the keys so rare that they would be incredibly expensive prohibitively, or that you'd never actually find them, or when you did, you would die to the one cheater because they would see that someone had the key, and then it would be, you know, they would just beeline right to you. So it's just too many things that would make what would otherwise be a fucking unbelievable,
really cool concept.
Yeah.
Asked if there will be radios. He said they'll be added later, not in this patch. Okay, so this was a question that made me kind of very sad. In an earlier podcast, it was said that there would be a redesign of the lighting. Are you planning on decreasing shadows, or basically like what are you doing? And then the question got weird, having to redo the entire lighting, expanding settings of post effects so the players have the opportunity to adjust the shadows on their own. So basically, the question was from a place of like, if you guys can't do it, can you give us control over some of this stuff? And he was saying like self-adjusted lighting definitely will happen. It's either the same for everyone or nothing.
Definitely will or won't.
Won't. He said it's the same for everybody, always. But he said changes in graphics in the future will affect many aspects, including shadows. Work is already underway. We're making various adjustments, but we're not adding it to the game yet. Which just makes me so sad because the lighting needs so much work. I mean, glad to hear that work is underway, whatever that means. But like, I was gib. This is cool stuff right here. What overall changes are waiting for us with the new wipe? What co-op features will be added in the new patch? He said there will be a lot of adjustments like weather, bot settings, and cool new systems like being able to spawn in and have everybody have like 1 HP. That was like an example where, so like, dude, weather, thank God I can choose the weather in offline mode. I want to kiss Nikita on the mouth. But it's cool that they're like messing with some of that stuff too, like the amount of bots. Hopefully that means that in offline co-op we can turn off bots because that's something that's been super annoying. And then actually being able to like adjust the health of people, which could be good for memes and could be good for potentially testing as well, if that goes both ways. You know what I mean? So that's kind of cool. Settings for content creation will also be added in the future as well. So it kind of sounds like we might not be getting like free cam and stuff like that in this patch, but it's still the plan and they're still working on it. That's pretty cool. This was a super weird one, bro. Will there be a hardcore mode? For example, turning on a checkbox in the main menu and you won't have access to the flea market. It is planned. That, like, it's not even, it's barely worth talking about because, like, what the hell does that mean? Like, Tarkov is hardcore mode. If you want to do a hardcore account where you don't use the flea market, don't use the flea market.
What's the point of the checkbox other than to screenshot it to show to your friends?
Exactly. Unless the implication was that there would be an entire, by checking that box as you enter into separate servers, which seems like a lot of work.
Yeah, let's now split up the player base after we just consolidated the player base.
So I don't know that I feel like there was context missing there, but the only answer we have is it is planned. This was an interesting one. Will there be items such as gold cards or tools for breaking into rooms being added to the game? And he said a master key for the labs was planned. He said actually the black key card was originally planned as a master key and it was supposed to be the most expensive key, but it turned out a little differently. The black key card will be changed in the future, which is interesting.
I want them to just make a skeleton key that's just an actual legitimate, just dangly like skeleton keychain.
Yeah. You can hang it off your gun.
Yeah.
Watch him jingle jangle.
Oh yeah, dude, like charms.
Yeah.
Dude, also like imagine if you could paint your gun like orange.
Dude,
like,
hell yeah, orange. Bro. I want to draw a big fat dick right across my SA-58.
I mean, I would rather put a giant dick sticker.
Stickers, that would be cool.
Yeah, I would, as long as they're like holographic.
If
TSM.
I could use the sticker, then I could use the Hello Kitty paint, and then that's a win-win because I get both.
Yeah, true. I think they should just. Did you ever play Mario Paint?
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, they must have an API, right?
Wait,
I don't know how APIs work.
I was told you had exclusive access to the Mario Paint.
No. That was the Super Mario 65.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Understood. Will it be possible to add a queue for crafting things and the ability to cancel crafts? Basically, the answer was no. He said, we do have that skill in the game, and it's freaking elite crafting, which 7 people have ever gotten in their life. I've thought about a queue, but this mechanic should force you to return. When we have an app in which it will be possible to start crafts, it'll be more interesting. So he referenced the app, by the way.
Oh, the app that I have that I definitely did, that it's already done, that I've been working on, that I've been paid for.
The queue is simple. It makes life easier, and the app will not be simple. When you install the app, you can only see your profile. If you want to manage something, earn it. Direct quote. And all of this will take time. You will need to unlock it in the game as well. I have no idea what the answer to that question was, but basically, no, you're not going to be able to queue up crafts. Lamau. I think that was a basically long-winded Russian way to say get good.
Oh. Okay.
What about looting big crates, containers? Would you consider
language?
I know, I'm sorry. Like using a crowbar to break into cars or glove boxes. He said not out of the picture, or maybe for doors too. So they're still considering being able to like bust down doors. Having the ability to permanently assign the position of certain items in your stash. Yes, he said basically there's a task. I've seen it appear somewhere. It was fully described and it looked like it was being worked on. I'm wondering if it'll make it into this patch or not. There are several types of blocks for it, a block for movement and others. A lot of features were already made, but they didn't make it into the last patch. So understandable, he doesn't know the status of every single card in the entire company, but he has been aware of that. And it seemed like it was making a lot of headway on it previously. So maybe that'll come soon. That'll be great for stash organization, quality of life feature people have been wanting for a really long time. That's pretty much it.
Wow.
So yeah, little Q&A. There's a bunch of questions that I didn't read through. A lot of them weren't like crazy questions. I think it's hard because like when these things happen, a lot of people freak out and they're like, oh, who lets these people ask these stupid questions? Some of the questions were a little crazy, but I think that's also a little unfair too, because like a lot of times these are just like podcasts. Like I think the Girls of Tarkov is just a podcast where like those girls talk about Tarkov and they do it maybe weekly or bi-weekly or whatever. And then like they invite Nikita and sometimes he comes on. And so like the setting isn't let's think of the most appropriate questions and get as much information out of Nikita. The setting is a conversation, and then they get transcribed and put on the forum, and it's presented like official information, and then people read through it, and they're like, one of the questions I didn't answer was, would you consider adding a grappling hook? And people are like, what? But it's like, it's weird because like, if I was talking to Nikita, just like, what's the translation error? If we're just like memeing around, like you and me talk all the time about like, oh, you know, what if they had this? What if they did this? And we'll like run through the rabbit hole of an idea, even if we think the idea is kind of dumb. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's hard because I wish there was a more standard forum where like they would do polls and figure out things that the community wants to know about and then release and then have Nikita do like a weird Q&A based on those questions, because I feel like it's a little bit unfair to just be like, the Girls of Tarkov podcast, why didn't you know what's important to me? Why did you spend time talking about these other things? It's like they're just chilling. They're just vibing with Nikita and they're asking him whatever that comes to the top of their head.
They should just have a fucking Reddit thread.
But I wish
they post and then have people, and then literally post questions and upvote, and then they just read them in fucking descending order.
No, exactly. But that's what I'm saying is that like I wish, because anybody that does an interview with him, everybody says that interviewer did a terrible job, and it's because there is no centralized location to basically like a Reddit thread would be great because stuff could get upvoted. There is no centralized location to kind of get a cursory gauge of what the community at large is concerned about. And then they could directly address those things, even if directly addressing it is, we don't want to talk about that yet. At least that would satisfy that the community knows somebody asked the question to Nikita, and then we can be mad he doesn't want to answer the question. But the frustration and the anger often gets pointed towards the people asking the question. And I don't think that's entirely fair, even if I think some of the questions are dumb. So like, I don't like that. I'm starting to not like that he just pops up in podcasts and hangs out with people. I'm starting to think that if they want to like post this stuff to the forums and like post this information, it needs to be a more centralized, like this is a time set aside for the devs to communicate with the audience and not just like hijacking a thing and then it becoming something it's not and then people becoming frustrated. I don't think that's necessarily fair. But I doubt that's going to happen. You know what I mean? I don't know. But that's pretty much it. That's the Tarkov stuff. So we'll see. Nothing in the Q&A that was released this morning made me think that they were like not going to get the patch out by the end of the year. That doesn't mean they will, but it basically, it's just another opportunity for them to be like, hey, it might not happen, but they didn't. You know what I mean? So hopefully that means confidence, but we'll see.
Well, all right, we'll see.
We'll see.
I think I'm probably going to save story time for next time.
Okay. I got to think of some story times. I know I've got some deep in the recess. I just got to think of them.
Yeah, I got a few. I know I have a few more. I have too many like little ones that aren't even worth story time. Like the time that I was at the pool and, you know, my dad was like doing the whole like throw you up in the air out of the pool kind of thing. And then he threw me up in the air and I went flying in the air and my bathing suit stayed in the water.
Oh, nice.
And I had never, basically I was.
You've never been to a pool since?
Have you? Well, no. I mean, yeah. I mean, that was the, yeah. You know, in like movies where like you know, like Max Payne, where it's like
bullet time? Yeah.
That I experienced bullet time, where it was just like looking down,
you're
seeing
like
my little like 7-year-old
above the world,
ding-a-ling, just floating there. Everybody, there's 100 onlookers, all like normally, you know, there's people playing with those fucking like devil sticks and, you know, a bunch of old ladies reading over there and people eating ice cream cones, and somehow they're all just staring directly at my
memory.
Little
you were
wing.
Like 30 feet.
I was like, I was in the air for like 10 minutes. Dude.
Yeah,
everybody saw in full 4K exposed.
Damn.
My little wing wang. Yeah, I remember
in
that.
8K.
Yeah. That's my mini story time.
Blitz.
Story time junior.
Yeah, story time blitz. I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. But yeah. Thank you guys so much for hanging. It's weird, dude. I was like, bro, are we doing the podcast again already? But I was like, oh, we did it on Sunday. Like it was super late. Yeah. So we did 2 in like 4 days. But thank you guys for hanging. This will be live on Sunday. Maybe we'll get some new news this weekend. Maybe we'll get a new event. I don't know. We'll talk about that next weekend. But Tarkov stuff, kind of the same. Yeah, but we'll see. Thank you guys for hanging. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part. Yeah, I will definitely see y'all on the next one.
Peace.